Hello, I'm Ellie, and welcome to Craving Cinema. This has been something that's been at the back of my mind for a while, and I just finally decided to do it. So here we are. I want to say I don't have a film degree or anything like that. I just love movies and wanted a space to discuss movies that interest me, movies that I maybe feel aren't talked about enough. I will be discussing new releases. I definitely watch way more older films, so there's going to be more of that. And I also want to keep this more of like a positive reviews. So if anything, I want to have monthly wrap ups, and anything I don't discuss, I will have it there. So maybe if I didn't like something, you'll still hear about it, but I won't dedicate a whole review to it. This will not be a genre specific channel. I really do watch a bit of everything. I love finding movies I've never heard of. That is such a fun time to me because sometimes those are just surprisingly good movies. So definitely help me out with that and give me recommendations whenever you have them. As I make videos, you'll have a better idea of my taste and the types of movies that will be on here. I also want to discuss the film challenge I'm doing for the year, which is a 5x5. I don't know how well known this challenge is. I'm doing like a traditional 5x5, so I'm sticking to 5 directors and 5 films from each director. So total of 25 films. I am watching these in order. From like how I'm listing them, this is how I'm watching them. I think this is going to help me be more consistent with the 5x5 and make sure it gets done because last year I tried this and A, I did it way too late in the year, and B, I just did not prioritize it. So this year I'm scheduling in my movies each month. I will be dedicating a video to each director as I get them done. And I've also did my best to like arrange these where they kind of match like the seasons that I'm watching them in. So it felt so right to start the year with Kelly Reichardt. I am not completely new to her films. I've somehow seen her very first film, which is Rivergrass, and her latest film showing up. I think they're both really great films, and so I had to put her on the list. I wanted to just fill in the in between. So we're gonna be going through Wendy and Lucy, Meek's Cutoff, Night Moves, Certain Women, and last but not least, we have First Cow, which was a big favorite of, I think, 2019. Yeah. Up next, we have Yasujiro Ozu. I apologize. I feel like I'm always saying his first name wrong. Probably am. And this is a well known Japanese director that I just somehow have not seen any of his films. I feel like you hear Ozu all the time. I don't know. Complete blank spot. I don't really even have an idea of what his films are going to be like. So this is going to be a really fun surprise for me. So with him, we've got Tokyo Story, Tokyo Twilight. We've got Floating Weeds. This is the 1959 version. I know that one. The one I'm going to be watching is like the remake of his own original, which I think is like the story of Floating Weeds. I just kind of figured if he remade it, there must be a reason. I will do my best to watch both, but this is the one I'm putting on the 5x5. From there, we have Good Morning. That is such a well known film. And last but not least, we are ending with An Autumn Afternoon. Okay, from there, we're moving on to what I think is possibly the most shameful blank spot I have, which is Robert Altman. I haven't seen a single one of his films, and I don't know how. I really don't know how all this time I have no doubt that the Criterion Collection has had, like, possibly all of the ones that I have on my list for him, but I just somehow have not seen any of them. So this is definitely a wrong I need to right. So MASH 1970, we've got Images, which I think might be his only like horror film. And as I mentioned, I do enjoy horror, so I feel like I had to get this one on here. So we've got that going. The Long Goodbye. Everybody talks about this one. I have not seen it. From there, we also have Nashville, which again, talked about so much, have not seen it. And last but not least, Three Women. Again, I feel like this list is just like the best of the best. And I'm both excited and intimidated. All right, from there, speaking of horror, for the fall months, we have Mario Bava. I've only seen one of his films. I've seen Blood and Black Lace. Don't know how I've just like not continued on because I watched Blood and Black Lace quite a few years ago. And if you haven't seen that one, highly recommend. Let's see. We're gonna start with Black Sunday. This is kind of fun because we're going from Robert Altman in the 70s and then Mario Bava, and it's mostly 60s. We are ending on 1971, but still mostly 60s here. So yes, Black Sunday, 1960, really well-known one. The Girl Who Knew Too Much. The Whip in the Body. I've seen this mentioned a few times. I don't know anything about it. So I'm very curious about that one. This next one is Danger Diabolik. Okay, so I know this is not a horror film, but I read the description, I watched the trailer. It looks like such a goofy good time, and I'm excited for that. And correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe this is the movie that they made to basically fund Barbarella. If you've seen Barbarella, that is a wild time. And based off Barbarella, I was like, well, I have to see Danger Diabolik. And as mentioned, we're ending in the 70s in A Bay of Blood. Again, another well-known one that I just have not watched. But here we are. We're ending on a banger. We're ending with Agnes Varda. I'm not new to Varda. I have seen two of her films. I've seen La Pointe Court, and Vagabond. I haven't seen a lot of Agnes's feature-length films, but I am a huge fan of her short filmography. And if you haven't seen any of those, I highly recommend them. They are all on the Criterion, like all of her work is on the Criterion channel. But yeah, I feel like her short films are kind of slept on, and it's a shame because they are just some of my favorite things ever. So we are going to start with Cleo from 5 to 7. Le Bonheur, I've heard of that one quite a few times. One sings, the other doesn't. The next one is Documentor. And then 101 Nights. She has a huge body of work, so I've done my best to kind of try to grab something from each decade, we'll say. Not really, but I've got, we got 1962, 1965, 1977, 1981, and then 1995 on here. So I think it's a pretty good range. I know she has quite a few like documentary style type of movies, and I do still want to get to those. And I will see you hopefully next week. We have the Oscars nominations coming up. I promise I won't be annoying about that. I really will possibly just discuss the nominations and then the actual awards themselves. All right, so if all of that sounds good to you, stick around and I'll see you soon.